Welcome to the Pump Rules Podcast, the show where cast and connoisseurs come to talk all things Vanderpump Rules.
Welcome, Tom Sandoval, to Pump Rules Podcast.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Welcome.
This feels so much different than Pump Podcast.
As Tom is talking to us, he's having his hair braided.
I am.
And introduce us to Vincent.
This is Vincent.
Hey, what's up? I'm the braid guy.
Yes, this is Vincent, my braid guy.
Do you find it therapeutic?
I do, actually.
Yeah.
I feel secure with a braid.
This was an eventful episode.
Yeah, to say the least.
So we open up with Lisa at Villa Blanca, which we don't normally see that much of on Vanderpump Rules, right?
Yeah, we don't actually.
Yeah.
I guess it's because none of us really work at Villa Blanca anymore.
Right, although you started there.
Yeah, that's where me and Ariana and Sheena, all three of us started at Villa Blanca.
Right.
Actually, Ellie did too.
Oh, really?
Who you see on this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Well, I met Ellie long time ago. I've known her for a very long time. She's a cool girl, for the most part. I don't agree with this whole situation with the James stuff.
James definitely always takes the bait.
He does. He definitely does. There was another time where James was DJing where Ellie and Gigi showed up as well. I just, that whole night really annoyed the shit out of me. Jax definitely had a little bit of something to do with James getting fired. He got him riled up. He knows how to push James's buttons.
Yeah.
They know how to push each other's buttons.
I still put the blame mostly on James for that personally, because I feel like it's ultimately up to the person. Kind of like when you're at Paint and Sip.
Yeah.
And, you say you can decide how you feel about that.
Yes.
So, and I'm with you on that.
Yes.
I'm not saying they weren't provoking each other, but I definitely think that James, maybe this is the only time he's learned a lesson about you have to behave.
You want to defend yourself when people are just attacking you constantly, but a lot of it is based on his behavior and.
Yeah, it's really fucked up though that he's already fired from Sir. He's pretty much away from everyone. Then Kristen, Carter, Sheena, Jax, they all go like way out of their way to this place on Hollywood Boulevard in the heart of Hollywood.
Right.
And to troll him. It's embarrassing. I would never do that shit. I would never. All these people made choices, and it's funny because Jax tried to sit there and say that like I invited him, and it's like, dude, I did not invite you. I got really pissed at Jax. I was like, don't you fucking dare try to put this on me and say I invited you.
The sound you're hearing is actually Tom's temperament meter. It's more of a, it's just that it's very critical during the braiding process to maintain a cool composure, very level-headed, and he's getting a little flared up. So anyway, he's adjusting, he's having a little ice, and we're okay.
Okay now.
Well, that whole scene, they get up on James's stage and are taunting him.
They went right to the side of the stage as soon as he steps off. It's like his first performance.
Although I have to say, I understand when Carter's like, Jax, no, up here, you can see better.
It's really shitty.
Listen, if they slept with James when he had a girlfriend, they cannot for one fucking second act like they didn't know he had a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, James posts everything on social media. I mean, if James is taking a shit, he takes a selfie with working at Sir and at with working at
anything in the Vanderpump Empire.
Everybody knows everything about everyone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nobody really has this like mysterious side.
Right. Oh, he DJs too? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea.
He shames women. He's a misogynist.
That is an amazing thing that he snaps right back into when he's just like, you slut. Instead of like, you're a liar, just go right for you're a slut. You're desperate. Also, what do you say? Thanks for coming, ugly.
To Kristen.
It is a funny move when a guy yells at his ex that they're ugly now that they're the ex.
Yeah.
Like it's just not the most clever thing to do. But stupid or crazy, anything that's more of a thing that wouldn't have precluded you from sleeping with the person previously. But ugly kind of, it doesn't really, it's not viable.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the hypnotherapy will take a bit longer to take hold.
How did that come about? Did you hear of the hypnotherapist?
I've actually done hypnotherapy before.
The other time when you're getting your hair braided and you were gotten too riled up, and then you get the hypnotherapy, back to Vincent, right?
I've wanted to try it. What do you think of it? Well, if you're recommending it, I guess.
I actually highly recommend hypnotherapy. Are you redoing it?
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little bit more product in it, actually.
Okay.
Just because I know you like it clean with like not a lot of flyaways and stuff.
Are we distracting you too much?
So, no, I just think it needs a little more product. It's all good.
You know I love more product.
I've heard that.
I've done hypnotherapy before. And what it does is, so in any given moment, there's your conscious and your subconscious. Your mind can be thinking about 13 things at one time for your average person. You know, you're thinking about breathing. You're thinking about the way the chair feels on your back, blinking and all these things that you're doing, holding something, talking, listening, smelling. Well, what happens is it starts to quiet your conscious thoughts and go more towards your unconscious. Like our fight or flight, your subconscious will take over. You don't necessarily have time to think about what would I do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's the most efficient way of getting out of this situation?
If you scare somebody, for instance, somebody might tuck into a ball, somebody might make a fist and try to swing on somebody, somebody might scream.
Yeah, right.
It's all these things. It's very, and with James, he's a very reactive person.
Yeah.
It's not like you can tell somebody to go, hypnotize them to go rob a bank or kill somebody. You can't do that. Your mind will reject anything that it doesn't agree with. But when you say things that it does agree with and it does want to, be better at it, it will hang on to that better when you're in that relaxed of a state.
Right. You're more receptive to.
You're way more receptive.
The thing that it seemed that James was focusing on was not to drink, and react, but also not to drink.
I know. When he was talking to her, I remember listening to him say I feel like the things he was telling her were the wrong things to focus on.
Right, because he didn't want people to think that he was moving above his station simply because he was hair perfect.
Yes.
Because, they see the hair perfect like that, and they just think, oh, this guy gets everything he wants. God damn him.
Yeah.
And everything's based in jealousy because he's so hair perfect.
Yes.
I think Jacqueline seems to agree with him on that point.
Oh, God.
Which, by the way, I think James is getting slightly dessert obsessed. He's trying to find a way. Let me think how to explain this where it's like, all right. And then there's lots of slices of pie. And there's lots of slices within the pie that make the pie. And so I got pied from Pump and Sir.
I didn't quite understand that.
Nor did I. But it seems like desserts are on the brain.
Yes, definitely. I think that's his replacement for alcohol.
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, he seems very devoted to ice cream.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if it's our story to tell, but is James still maintaining the ice cream over booze? For instance, at the premiere party, did they have sundaes? I can't remember. Because I would have loved one, but anyway.
Yeah. I don't think they had a lot of sundaes there.
It was
or
a big
any.
room, though. It was dark. It was hard to tell.
Yeah, it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think James, I was actually just around James for his birthday, and he definitely was drinking. Obviously, we've thrown around the word, the term drinking problem. When somebody has a drinking problem, it doesn't necessarily mean you're an alcoholic. It means that you have a hard time saying no to the fifth shot, or knowing your limitations, or knowing why you should be going out and having drinks. Are you celebrating, or are you pissed off? What's your deal?
And having an anger issue underneath it.
Exactly. That's the thing, is there is a big difference between having a problem with drinking and being an alcoholic.
Yeah. Well,
having a problem with drinking could be the same thing as having a problem with video games.
Yeah, right.
You're calling in sick to work to play video games all day.
Or developing a problem with ice cream.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. And you're lactose intolerant.
That's a big problem. It's a big problem.
A really big problem.
It's so hard. You're like, is it my place to say? Your gas is terrible. Could you please put that down?
Yes.
A lot of time with alcoholism, you'll see the person get to a moment when they're so blacked out, they're falling over. Routinely, not being able to stop until you pass out.
Or the point to where their body is dependent on alcohol.
and sometimes shutting down in various ways too.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, you mentioned throwing around drinking problems. So I thought it was a little much last episode for Sheena to introduce drinking problem on coming to Katie, particularly because of the whole relationship she has at the moment to the other bridesmaids and her role in the process, as seen in this episode when she seems to be very determined to have control over planning events in New Orleans, which I don't even know if she's been to yet. But,
Sheena?
Yeah.
Okay. I felt, it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was in the mix. I felt like Stassi was being a little controlling.
I mean, specifically at the bridesmaid lunch.
Okay.
With the New Orleans thing.
Okay.
But actually more back to when she and Shay. At
Sheena's place when you're talking about your jokes you're going to do for the roast. And she said, do you think she has a drinking problem? And you agreed.
Here's the thing is like, I mean, if Katie's at home watching movies, you know, with Schwartz, like, I don't get mean texts. People don't get mean texts. It's after she's been out. That's when the mean texts come. I've gotten texts before that say that, like, me and Ariana are the source of all her and Schwartz's fights. Like, what a ridiculous thing to say.
Because we all know it's solely your responsibility.
It is solely, yeah. You know, and that's not coming from somebody who's fucking sober. Okay, I'm sorry to say.
Sober, the 1.5 drink sober that we saw earlier on this season, or it's a murky stew. This season's a murky stew.
It is. To get back to James for a second, I think James has actually gotten a lot better with drinking. Like, I've been around them numerous times. Listen, like, if people have a drinking problem, a real problem, like, that they need to sort out, they need to sort it out. You know, not necessarily do they need to quit drinking altogether. That if they choose to do that, they can choose to do that. But if they learn how to handle their situations, just like with food, if you have to learn how to handle your food situation, you have to learn how to handle your drinking situation. You got to stay in shape. You can't, you know, there's a lot of maintaining that happens in life, and you know, you can't indulge too much in any way. You know, so really that's what it comes down to, is just keeping yourself in check and maintaining some discipline. And when people lose that discipline, that's when problems happen.
And back to Sheena introducing the term drinking problem in with Katie, because it's a very loaded thing to do on a reality show, right? Yeah. And refill?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Speaking of drinking problems.
When they run out, I got a problem.
We're so judgmental.
So Sheena speaking about anyone having a drinking problem, I find a little funny, basically because of last season and her statements about substance abuse, how to handle it, how to not handle it.
Yeah, her and Shay never went to counseling, and to me that was a big, big mistake.
Was it because she didn't want to, or one of the other didn't?
I don't know if they just never got around to it. Yeah. I mean,
that's not easy to do. It's hard enough to go to a therapist yourself, let alone like your partner together.
I mean, I've done it before. You know, like if something is a priority, you know, we don't have all the answers. Like, my brother is a doctor in psychology.
Right.
And obviously he has had thousands of clinical hours.
Yeah.
You know, he is going to have a better understanding. It's a specialty. And this is also somebody who doesn't know you, doesn't have this personal relationship to where they are affected by whether, you know, they like you or not like you. They have that separation. So even if you can't afford it, like, there are people out there that, you know, work on a sliding scale. Like, you can make it happen. I will say that what Sheena brought up about the drinking problem, I think basically she was saying what is on, like, everybody's mind. You know, so I realize it seems a little inappropriate for her to bring it up, you know, but I don't think she was coming from a place of, let me give you the remedy. It's more just like, a lot of the times when you go out drinking, you get in fights with people. You and Schwartz get in fights. We get angry texts, paragraphs out of, like, nowhere. You know what I mean? So I think she was just more talking about that per se, not so much offering this, like, you know, I know about this shit type thing. Because I would have said something immediately.
Like, thank you, Dr. Marie.
Yeah.
At the time, Dr. Shay.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny to, not to bash Shay, but him piping up so much. I was like, well, look who found his voice.
I'm always trying. You know what? I've always encouraged Shay to speak up more. Literally, I'm always like, dude, I want to hear what you think about this. I'm always.
He's a sweet guy. He's fun.
Yeah. Oh, and I just saw. I can't remember who we were talking to, but there was some alert today about an interview that he did talking about how Shay has distanced himself a bit from everyone.
Yeah. I haven't actually talked to Shay. I think he has a different phone number now because I think him and Sheena were on the same phone plan, and so she took him off.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. I don't want to take sides.
Well, we've only had pleasant dealings with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Shay has always been a very sweet guy to me, and I realize things don't work out. I'm never gonna just blindly take sides. But yeah, I would like to talk to Shay at some point. Just hang out and shoot the shit, see how he's doing. I care about the guy. I want to make sure he's doing all right. He's my friend.
Right. Right.
But I understand, we're all kind of a tight-knit group, and I've had many conversations with Shay and stuff that I don't tell anybody else, not even Ariana, about what is said, and I just always want him to know that, I'm a safe place.
This segment brought to you by The Blackout, the turbulent new miniseries starring Jax Taylor as the man who may or may not remember what he might have done, but knows exactly what you did. The Blackout, running this fall intermittently on Stars.
So let's talk a little bit about Jax and Sherry.
Oh my God.
Well, back to the roast, which...
Wait, can I check out my hair real quick?
Yeah, please. Vincent, is there a name for the sort of braid that you've done here?
Well, this is Tom's signature braid.
Okay.
It's pretty much kind of like a French braid, although it's an outside French braid, and it's kind of loose, and it just goes straight back. It's kind of simple and masculine. Sometimes we get a little crazy with it, but this is kind of the go-to.
Right.
Like we did on my birthday.
We had 4 or 5 braids going through that.
That was good. The little pieces hanging off.
Yeah, kind of sticking out to the side and the back.
That was full on.
With the outfit, very insane.
It had hints of Braveheart chic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with a touch of an angelic white suit feel.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm gonna check it out real quick. Hold on a second.
Yeah, sure.
That's why I brought the little mirror today too, because I knew he was gonna want to look in the back, and we were gonna be doing the podcast here. So I'm like, let me just bring it so he can see all angles.
So he could check whenever he felt like it.
He's gonna be in that mirror for about 30 minutes.
So wait, what were we talking about now?
Oh, the roast. So we're talking about Jax and Sherry.
Okay.
And so we have to wind back to last episode.
And how everyone was mad that you said certain things that Sherry's ears didn't need to hear.
Yeah, well, I mean, out of all the things that I said, because my roast was, I feel the most brutal.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm having a roast, I should expect pretty much anything to come at me.
That's what a roast is, really.
Yeah. I actually looked up rules of roasting, and one of them was try to stay away from exes if you think they might possibly get back together.
Okay.
Because that could be awkward.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to ever make fun of the girl or person that they're dating. So I didn't make fun of Brittany. I just tried to stay away from the how many girls and all this stuff, because I knew everybody was going to go that route.
Right.
So I tried to stay away from that, but I knew people weren't going to talk about drugs, and so I'm definitely going to talk about drugs. And I'm going to go with more personal experiences that I've seen over the years that maybe not everyone has, had the luxury of seeing.
That's right. Yeah, you want to share with everyone the wonderful things that you've gotten to experience yourself with Mr. Taylor.
And in fact, I mean, I actually have some of the jokes that got cut out if you guys want to hear them.
Oh, we'd love to.
We were so mad we didn't audio or video record the whole time until afterwards. Fuck, none of that shit is going to get put on air.
I know. Of course not.
And that, and also Peter's, not to harsh on it, but my God. I
mean. Peter had the most awkward, weird roast.
Surreal. Bizarre.
It was an inside joke that nobody knew, and he was like, "What's up with jaundice?" And only those guys knew, and everyone was like, "I don't know myself."
All that came from is that when we would take trips to Vegas, we're oh, we're gonna have jaundice at the end. It just was a dumb joke, and Peter that was the whole backbone of his whole roast. And I don't understand. It was really awkward.
It was really strange. The best was, I said on last episode, Jax for like hours afterwards was just going, I mean, what does he even mean by that? Like, I know what he meant, but like, what did that mean? Like, what was he thinking?
What
was he thinking? Like, he was
like,
really
what was
perplexed.
The point of it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Then he drifted into a thing about a statue and how Jax wants to have so much plastic surgery that he eventually is transformed into a statue.
I went to the bathroom during it.
I know, and while I was like, oh God, Blythe is missing the greatest moment of this whole thing because it will never be seen again. It will never be heard again. They might have unplugged the mic. But anyway.
Jax was hooking up with a porn star back in the day, and I did actually want to have her. Like, she's a working porn star.
Sure.
You know, not just like gig. 1 or 2 videos. And so
be an easy hour.
I really wanted her to show up. I really wanted her to show up in like a cop uniform and like, but I was vetoed. So there's one thing I didn't do.
You did out of deference to Sherry's presence, yeah?
Yes. Which, by the way, your girlfriend's mom has no fucking business at your roast.
Kristen was on last week, and I understood why she wanted to protect Brittany and Sherry, but my opinion is that, you know, I'm glad you guys went, or you and Schwartz went all in, because
I'm not gonna roast. Yeah, I mean, listen, Brittany's mom's gonna watch the fucking show. I'm gonna bring it up. Like, it's not that big of a deal that I can't bring up. There are way worse things that I said that I probably should have not brought up, but I did because I'm gonna roast the way you should roast. The person should literally feel like they want to die. Their face should be brick red.
Yeah,
they should be sweating, almost like wanting to throw up.
I think these two things I did witness.
Yes.
I love how they left in Jax muttering, son of a bitch, when Schwartz was doing it. Because it's rare that Schwartz is in any room and someone's like, that son of a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right?
It's just not the thing that people make him think.
When he's like, I'm not fat.
Oh my God. And then in this episode, getting fitted for suits, he's like, yeah, slim fits. We all need slim fits. And the guy is like, well, I think you're more of an athletic fit. And he's like, what?
I know, it was great.
Jax coming in with the sacks of groceries. Those are probably full of fixins for turkey sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would think so too. Probably like wings, turkey sandwiches.
Oh, right, because he says in his interview he was just waiting for Sherry to leave so he could take his pants off, cook some wings up in the microwave.
Yeah,
and
which sounds disgusting.
Hideous. Yeah,
horrible.
Watch sports.
What's going to be going
gross.
on in that man cave?
I don't even know.
Oh, man.
I don't even know. It's probably going to smell bad in there, though.
This segment brought to you by Sheet Girls, the terrifying romantic comedy from the hands of Jax Taylor. Sheet Girls. There's blood on the walls and love in the air tonight. Sheet Girls. Once you go behind that sheet, you'll never be the same. Sheet Girls. Available on Betamax and VHS from Odyssey Video, North Hollywood.
Speaking of Sheet Girls, so obviously I've told this story before, but, you know, this was mentioned in my roast that, you know, the first night that Jax met Stassi, ended up hooking up with this Brazilian girl who was on her period, he gave her Schwartz's sweatpants, and it looked like bloody murder in those sweatpants.
Yeah.
And it was the first night. Stassi literally like was hitting on Jax, and he kind of like turned her down. And that was actually the first part of the joke that what I said about, you know, Kristen and Brittany.
Okay, yeah. So let's get to the
You want to hear
full
that one?
rose. Yeah, let's do it.
I said, after 2 a.m., everyone's hot, but with Jax at 4 a.m., a hole's a fucking hole. Whether it's spewing blood, kind of like the first night Stassi came on to you and you chose bloody door, Brazilian door number 2. Speaking of coming on, I really want to thank you for letting me know that it's not okay to fall asleep with friends over when dating Kristen. Please your girl, he says. Well, if you would have pleased yours, she probably wouldn't have had to run to Kristen for some female action. So that was the full...
Yeah. Which at the time we didn't know about that whole thing. And so we were really confused because there was a lot of heated whispers going on.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, what's this thing they keep talking about? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I said, Jax, you look like if a worn baseball glove and a bloated Adam Levine had a baby. And then I said, you're so sweaty all the time that if you jumped in a hot tub, you'd start a grease fire. And then I said, I know you've had a lot of surgeries. Jax, but I have to tell you, the only way you're going to have the body of a 21-year-old again is if you get her pissed drunk, bombard her with lies while railing her behind a sheet wall. And then I said, yeah, that septum is deviated, all right, with baby laxative residue, partially told lies, and fragments of $100 bills. And then I said, oh, yeah, this one was way worse. I was like, Sherry, I heard the other day you asked Jax if he found the church out here. Dude can't even find the fucking bag of Coke he bought 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that's right. Oh. Yeah, there was a definite reaction in the room to that one. I remember a ripple effect of, ooh.
And then I think most of I think the other ones pretty much were in there. He kicked in the door and said, I can't feel my teeth, and how it's always allergy season. Yeah.
It wasn't Sherry. Like, remember, what was, I don't know if it was on the screen, but we were there, and you had made that joke. She was like, oh, yeah, he's always sneezing.
That's right. It is always that. He is always how
She said that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a smog. It's
December, mid-December, bad allergy season.
Bad
So
allergies.
bad.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
A windy winter.
Non-California listeners, you might not know, but out here, very dusty.
This segment brought to you by the men's room at the Shadow Lounge.
It's Gochi. Careful, it's Gochi.
Well, if it's that, I see him at events wearing the same exact T-shirt and leather jacket.
You would know. Does he wear a T-shirt until it starts to disintegrate?
I don't think so. James, from what I've seen, is a very, he loves the brands.
Of course.
Gochi.
So, yeah.
The whole distressed look.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? That shirt that I was wearing during Paint and Sip, it was filled with holes and had paint splatter all over it. Perfect. But I wore it as a joke because it was a total poser shirt. Because
like a
I
painter's
bought
shirt.
it that way.
Oh,
it's not
okay.
but you ever notice so there's people that go to paint and they have to have they have to wear a shirt that's got paint on it. It's kind of torn. It's gosh. I'm such an artist. Oh, my clothes have paint on them. I can't find a shirt that doesn't have paint on it.
Yeah.
So it's a joke. I wore this shirt that just had paint splatter all over it. I actually went to this guy did it an art gallery and he's wearing a suit, but the shirt underneath it has paint on it. And I'm dude, don't act like you get paint on you
at the gallery. Yeah. Oh, I was just out back doing another masterpiece.
Because I'm just such a crazy artist. It's his whole
I never
persona.
know when the inspiration is going to strike, so I've got to have a layer on that's covered in paint.
Yes. By the way, the girl that was hosting, her name's Mindy. Really good friend of mine. Yes, you guys know Mindy. I've been friends with her and her twin sister for I don't even know. Definitely over a decade, a while. She actually taught me how to bartend.
Really? Where?
On the way to my first bartending gig. Basically, my aunt had a bar for a while, and they needed a bartender, and I'd bartended a little bit before, but only very minimal stuff. And so she basically over the phone taught me how to make your basic 10 to 15 cocktails that all you really need to know in a bar. Because everything else is either a signature drink or it's a vodka soda.
Or that sick ass one you made me the other night. Whatever that one was you made me. That was
Oh, well, I mean, that's way later. But yeah, it's funny. I made you the...
It was the vodka. You put the fresh strawberry.
Oh, yeah, the strawberry puree, muddled lemon and lime, muddled jalapeno, a little bit of simple syrup, Cointreau.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a really good drink. I love that drink.
It has a kick, but it was good.
What's that
Glad
called?
you enjoyed it.
Is that
I call that the Tea Sandy.
The Tea Sandy. There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Custom classic.
Yeah, it's my favorite one to make. Because, really, the only spicy drink on the menu at Sir is the spicy margarita.
Right,
so
right.
I like to make other spicy drinks.
So if people go into Sir, they can, and you're there, bless you.
Yes.
They can order a Tea Sandy.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, and I recommend it.
Thanks, man.
Vincent seal of approval.
So
I to order it from Jax when he's there.
Yes, definitely. Oh, if you go in there and Jax is there, order two of them, and then see what two different drinks you get.
Exactly. Yeah.
My favorite joke of Kristen's from the roast was that she heard Jax asking Lisa what's in a vodka tonic. I'd love that.
I mean,
it could have been made up, but it could totally happen.
If it was written, that's fine writing. That is very funny because there's no way to be well, I'm sure no, there's no explanation for that. That's
I mean, I don't think that ever happened. I think she could have came up with a better one than that.
What would be the better version of that?
Like what's in a martini?
But you can have a gin martini or a vodka martini.
Yes.
And what she said is funnier.
Well, I will have to say, I do have to say that Kristen's jokes were probably not written by her.
Oh, well, she admitted she got someone to help her write. And,
she did?
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, she said her friend
got on the
Annabelle
podcast,
helped.
yeah.
And
she helped some
Okay.
others write some stuff. So
Well, that's
But it's
cool.
like a big organized thing that she said she had, it was her idea, but then putting it all together, you have to, roast is
Kristen,
hard.
look,
Yeah,
Kristen
roast
can be she's a hard worker. I mean, I won't take that away from her. I will say though, like in our entire almost 6-year relationship, it's not that, I'm not going to sit there, but, it's all bad.
Yeah.
Kristen had her strengths. She was very organized. She was very clean. She was, on top of her stuff and obviously the other things.
Yeah.
But Kristen was never really funny. I mean, people have their strong suits, and Kristen was just never somebody. She never made me laugh ever. I cannot think. I can think of numerous times where Kristen's where she was super caring or motherly to other people or other many positive. I cannot really think of one time that Kristen actually made me laugh. Not one.
That's rough.
Well,
Really rough.
I mean, dude.
Well, no, not in offense to her.
Reasons.
Just a couple, my sense of humor kind of thing. But not sense of humor, but being able to, I don't know.
No, make the partner laugh or something.
Yeah.
Well, but wait, did you enjoy the episode when on the Sonoma Montauk split travel episodes when Sheena, who I thought was being kind of a pill on the trip, I don't want a shot. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I won't eat that.
Yeah.
Well, no. But when she says to Kristen something like, "Oh no, those shots are bad memories," and Kristen's like, "Well, you know what, honey, they're all bad memories to me. I just keep moving forward."
I like that.
That's good.
She said that.
Yeah. It's great because there's a tinge. That's kind of one of those things where when you're in a group of people and you're like, there's someone there who's just being a downer, and you kind of want to be like, could you shut the fuck up? Without saying shut the fuck up. It's just okay. Yeah. Nothing made you laugh? You told me some pretty hilarious things.
Well, dude, I'm telling you, I don't know.
No,
I was more of the goofball.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm always joking around. I'm always being dumb or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe different people bring out different sides of you.
Totally, absolutely.
Sometimes with James, I'm obviously definitely the adult and the father figure.
Yeah.
I but when I'm around other people, I'm sometimes I'm the idiot. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Not absolutely, you're the idiot. I'm saying absolutely. That's how things.
What are you? You're not supposed
Good
to agree with
timing.
me there.
Back to Sherry. It is hard to talk to your girlfriend's mom and say things that are borderline negative, or here's what the problem with your daughter is.
Yeah, that was so awkward. So, Vincent, you haven't seen the episode yet, but they're sitting there, and I guess, and I did think it was really weird that out of all the things that were said about Jax, there was a lot of things said about Jax that night. Dude, he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And out of all the things, she was like, I just think it's kind of I don't know about that homosexuality thing. And I'm like,
have you really been with a man?
Yeah.
And I agree with Jax. Out of all the things.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd heard it reported to us is that it was a cute thing that the mom was just kind of did he really kiss a man? That's kind of how we heard it.
Really?
Playing a game of telephone. It just, and also someone's doing the accent and they've heard the story from someone else. And so that's how it sounded because it didn't sound quite as intense. And
well, yeah, it looks bad too because of all the things you're going to, come off as if you're a homophobe. And
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. And
it's not a good
she's
look.
not,
No.
and Brittany, I think, was upset by it.
And I know that Brittany's friend Zach had tweeted something about how he's been friends with Brittany for forever, and that Sherry loves him and knows fully that he's gay.
Well, that
and supports
that makes
him and everything.
sense.
Yeah, exactly. It does make sense because like last episode we were talking about last episode we were talking about that and how Brittany's friend Zach, one of her best friends, is gay and very open, and we were trying to put that math together, and so clearly it's just we're seeing
maybe
one
it was
side.
just because of like Jax's whole like persona or like how he
his whole enchilada. Yeah.
Maybe how he comes across.
Yeah,
because he comes across as such like a sometimes like is like the fuck bro, like as a bro.
Yeah, right.
So.
Well, yeah, the problem on the show. Well, it seemed as if
I feel like
they're defending it because they're like, well, she doesn't know. Her impression doesn't really know you. So, are you with women and then with men? Are you strictly with women, or do you go back and forth? I think that was the biggest thing that I was confused about.
The funny thing to me, what I found, is that I feel like bros are like hardcore, like testosterone bros are like the most likely to like dabble.
Heteroflexible.
They're the most likely to like, yeah, well, like
well, whatever. We were just there was no one else there, and like I was lonely.
Hole's fucking hole, bro.
I think I read, and it wasn't an Onion article. I think I read that there is an app for straight guys to hook up with other straight guys. Okay, that's cool. Like you just you really got to hold on to this thing that no, but I'm not gay. Like I don't know what's that.
It's very complicated.
You're loading an app, being like, I want to have sex with a guy, but goddamn it, don't call me
After they
gay.
get done having sex, they like punch each other in the face, and they got.
What the hell? What are you doing here?
Yeah, well, I didn't. I admit I didn't read the whole thing, but it was kind of like, well, it's what almost like if that's what guys do, like that's what you do. And this is like,
yeah, that
kind of like there's
boys
something
will
wrong
be
with
boys.
it. Yeah.
Sounds like an Abercrombie photo shoot.
Yeah.
I've shot for Abercrombie before.
Yeah. Tom knows all about that.
You guys can go, but these two, would you stay for extra pictures?
Oh my god, the best story you told was a couple people you were modeling with, and later on they saw a photo of them both posing naked from one of those shoots on a cake at a fucking cake shop or a sex shop cake.
Yeah, it was at the Pleasure Chest.
Oh my god.
So these two, so these twins, they were like known as the Abercrombie twins back in the day. I'll just say that I won't say their names.
Yeah.
But they were like a big deal. Like they were, they had like fans. I lived with one of them in Miami, like we all, like I lived with Jax at one point. I lived with this guy, like we,
Wait, Tom, you live with man?
What?
you live with man? I didn't know that. I'm just, this is awkward.
Sorry about that.
Did you kiss him?
I was at the Pleasure Chest buying like a gag gift.
Gift gag. You were getting the gift gag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I didn't catch that at first. That was good, Craig. That was good.
Pleasure chest jokes. I got a whole trunk of them.
So I'm sitting there checking out at the counter, and I see they're on a cake. Their picture of them naked, back to back, but like penis out, everything, and I'm like, dude, you're on a fucking cake at the Pleasure Chest. Like, I don't know if you know about this. Like, I don't know what this shot was from.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, like, what photo shoot was this?
Personal collection.
Second of all,
whatever you signed for, it's now on a cake.
It's now on a cake at a sex shop. So, yeah, you might want to have your people call their people.
I wonder how they do go through, like, oh, that would be good on a cake. Like, which one? Is it just a random grab?
I mean,
like,
maybe somebody was like a fan. You know what probably happened? Somebody was like a fan of the Abercrombie twins, and it was their birthday, and so their friend got them, put it on a cake, and then maybe somebody else got a better cake, so they like had to cancel the order, so it was left there at the Pleasure Chest. And like, oh, we'll just use this as a display cake to show our like what we can print on cakes.
They found a good internet photo, not a great dick pic, so they chose that instead.
Oh, right.
There you go.
Maybe the next time someone needs a dick pic for a comedy show, they should go into the cake world and see if there's any floating around.
They should just check the Abercrombie quarterlies.
That's right. Don't just Google dick pic.
For the record, I was never naked for the Abercrombie shoot.
Okay.
Tom Sandoval, never nude.
Never nude.
I love that nobody knows about Tumblr, which is just like there's a million fucking blogs with just dick submissions everywhere. Like you can't Google it, but
You can find anything on Tumblr.
note to it. other stand-up comics who need
For props, new props.
Yep.
You weren't at that show, right? You didn't go to that show.
No, I didn't go to that show.
You know, that's right, because you didn't want to be tempted to laugh.
No, it wasn't that. Some of Chris and Rachel's friends are like not just like kind of trolls. They're like full blown angry trolls.
Really?
Yes. They are full blown angry trolls, and they were like waiting in the fucking like on the sides. Like if we showed up, they had this whole thing they were gonna plan with me and Ariana. Yeah, it was like apparently pretty intricate, and I'm like, dude, well, we're not showing. Like we have other shit. We had other shit to do that day. Actually, we really did. I can't remember what it was, but it was important.
Yeah,
and we had to do it, and it was that day, so that's why we didn't go. Apparently, when we were on Watch What Happens Live, too, there were some people that were going to, like, call in and, like, yeah, it's crazy.
What were they going to...
I don't remember. So, basically, somebody tweeted at Ariana, like, warning her that, like, they're, like, all these people are planning this thing where they're going to, like, call in and, like, say, oh, I just want to ask Ariana, like, how she is there. And then they're going to, like, full-blown, like...
divert and say something that they didn't clear with the screener.
Exactly.
Right. But, we saw Baba Booey. I'd love to see a Baba Booey on Watch What Happens Live. I think Andy would dig it too. Jax was on last.
Yeah, with Jerry O'Connell.
Oh no, wait, not this last one. The one before, there was lots of that. There was people that like, hey, someone from Minnesota wants to ask you about what your favorite sports team is, and then someone got on there like, hey, Jackson, what are your cocaine?
I gotta get out of here.
Hard out.
I gotta leave pretty soon.
Okay.
Pretty quick.
I have to get a photo of the final braid.
This segment brought to you by Stassi Stumble, the new beverage partnership from Bartles and James and Stassi Schroeder. Tired of the night train? Sick of the blemishes you always get after a hard night on Mad Dog 2020? Sip those homeless blues away with Stassi's special blend of bargain basement white wine and her proprietary melange of antidepressants and sleeping aids. With the stick-to-your-ribs aroma of knockoff Gucci bags and rancid fruit notes, Stassi Stumble guarantees a smooth slide to the bottom. Stassi Stumble, available in 1-gallon efficiency jugs exclusively at Superior Grocers, North Hollywood. Act now and receive a complimentary set of Schroeder brand booze tube tampon flasks. Perfect for the times you can't even hide enough bottles in the bathroom to get through the day.
Sandoval helped me pick out clothing for the wedding.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, it was a wonderful thank you again.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And actually gave me the jacket that I wore to the wedding, which is my favorite jacket now. So I thought it was funny because you had suggested a black vest as well. So you were a bit of a vest fan.
I am a vest fan. I feel like it's very slimming. Also, my favorite thing about like wearing a black vest with an outfit is that, I starch all my shirts. I make sure that they're always pressed and everything. But like, you get into a car, you put a seatbelt on, whatever. Somebody you spill a little drink on you. A black vest will hide all that.
Sure.
So a shirt can get like wrinkled, but if you're wearing a black vest, it'll hide all of that.
Right.
It just makes it a lot easier. It just looks more pristine for longer, and that's why I like a black vest.
Oh, that makes sense.
And plus, when we were suit shopping, the rest of Schwartz's groomsmen, he just told them just wear a black suit.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, dude, somebody's going to show up in a 3-button. Somebody's going to show up in a single button. Somebody might even show up in a tux. So, like, since this is a suit that is going to be mine and I'm going to carry it, wear for other things, like, I don't own a black tux. And since I have to buy a suit right now, it's funny. I actually own, like, over 20-something suits. Mm-hmm. Not a single fucking one of them is black.
Wow. That's amazing.
Some of them might look like tablecloths, as a matter of fact, or drapes.
Checkers?
Yes, or checkers. Gold or sequins. Like, dude, it's ridiculous. But
that speaks to Schwartz's grand scheme planning. His big picture stuff is a little faulty sometimes.
It's a little foggy. It's like it's like Schwartz. He's like, oh, I don't want tuxes. It's like, but do you understand that, like, do you even know the difference between a tux and a suit? Because it's like pretty much the same fucking thing, except there is a little stripe on the pants.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All it is the introduction of satin. That's
okay.
it.
Yeah. Cut
That
and
is the
details.
only difference.
Yeah.
As soon as you bring satin or silk into the exterior of a suit,
Yeah.
it becomes a quote-unquote tux. Now, if we are sitting there in black suits with black vests, with tux shirts on, with bow ties and cufflinks, every person that comes in tux shoes
Yeah.
as well.
Right. Which you bought when we went to the store, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single person is going to come up and be like, oh my gosh, your guys' tuxes look great.
Yeah.
Because nobody is going to know the difference.
No one's going to be like,
So
hey,
it's
wait a
like
second, where's the satin stripe?
Yeah, exactly. So why not just buy a fucking tux? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So essentially, Schwartz
He just
shouldn't
didn't-
have fucking helped with the damn thing. 'cause
He just didn't know what he was
doing.
talking about. He just didn't understand what he was talking about. But that's fine.
No, it's cool because he knows about flowers and he knows how
Yeah.
they. Okay, when you make the florist laugh or make the florist nervously go, this is a very slow number for the flowers.
$6,000 for flowers? Yeah. Well, yeah, $6,000 for flowers was what they wanted to spend. Which I told Schwartz, I was like, dude, that'll get you a fucking dandelion and a beer can.
And not for every table.
The Coors Light cans, very classy.
That's true. The Coors Light cans, yeah.
That'd be nice.
You could have used the ones from Sonoma. There was a lot.
Yes, there was.
All right, so you got to go.
I do have to get out of here, unfortunately.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Tom. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, and hey, congratulations on the new podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's so
you.
crazy because it's all the same equipment, same editors, and like 2/3 of the same people. So it sounds to me like somebody just changed some passwords and like you had to get a new one.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure, guys. I love
Cool.
you guys.
Love
You
you.
too.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon. Vincent,
All
thanks
right.
again for joining
Oh,
us.
yeah,
You did a
Yes,
fabulous
Vincent,
work.
my braid guy, everybody.
That's
Yeah.
a great guy, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you want to do a little
Thank you.
promotional
Yeah, just give
shout
us
out
your
to yourself?
email.
VINNIEGO20@AOL.com. The old vintage, AOL.
The classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
You've got
and,
mail.
Yeah. And find me on Instagram or Facebook, VG Hair and Makeup.
He's really good, guys. Check him out.
I agree.
Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pump Rules Pod, or go to pumprolespodcast.com for more information. Email pumprolespodcast@gmail.com and follow on Facebook at facebook.com/pumprolespodcast. Thanks for listening and see you next time.